Let's look at organizational culture and productivity enforcement. How organizational culture affects productivity. First is that every individual has different culture and beliefs that they work with, and when they come to an organization that has a completely different culture and beliefs from their own, they must be allowed to internalize themselves first with the organization's culture and beliefs to know whether they can cope with them or not. And it's the ability of the employee to cope with the organizational culture that would determine how the employee works. Organizations should therefore encourage new entrants to get internalized first with the organizational culture to know whether they can cope with them or not. Secondly, is adequate motivational factors must be put in place in the organization for workers because it improves employee living standards and thus helps employees to achieve higher productivity. Organizations should provide adequate motivational factors like housing allowance, cars, loans, holiday allowance, healthy allowance, etc., that will help their employees feel comfortable with themselves and their job and thus thrive towards higher productivity. Hardworking and productive employees should be compensated as and when due. So, thirdly, is that an organization must have a stable culture. When an organizational culture is unstable and changes from time to time, it makes the employees discouraged and tired of learning different culture all the time. It is strongly recommended that organizations should operate with a strong culture and not a weak culture. It is a weak culture that changes from time to time. Strong cultures are cultures that are established by founders of the organizations to become the organization way of life. Another way is notifying employees when changes must be made. In cases where an organizational culture must be changed, employees must first be notified and made to learn the modification, the old culture, or otherwise the new culture. Organizations are recommended to always make their workers comfortable with the culture, and this will reduce the rate of employee turnover. And lastly, is that organizational culture must be binding to all members and staff of the organization, and this will encourage uniformity among members of the organization and thus enhance commitment and group efficiency. So, organizational culture must be binding when it's for everyone, it's not for specific people. In case it's violated by anyone, it is they're supposed to be accountable for that. So those are the ways of enforcing organizational culture with productivity.